Although 74 million voters cast ballots for Donald Trump in the 2020 election, this year he's sought to expand his base by deliberately appealing to some new communities. Among those, cryptocurrency advocates. Autumn in Georgia. As the trees begin to turn in Atlanta's leafy suburbs, Rich Clark is preparing to turn in his ballot for Donald Trump. Do you think Donald Trump's support in the crypto community could be enough to meaningfully affect the election?
He says he only lost by like 30,000 votes. There's definitely 30,000 Bitcoin holders in the US, so who knows, maybe it could swing the election.
Rich Clark is the founder of Bitcoin Atlanta, a cryptocurrency community which until recently was made up of people who didn't always fit neatly in the two-party system. You've talked about Bitcoin entering the political mainstream for the first time. What do you mean by that?
Basically, for the first time in this sort of campaign cycle, we have presidential candidates showing up to Bitcoin conferences and mainstream, political candidates.
Hello, Bitcoiners. Thank you very much. Hello, it's good to be with you.
In July, Donald Trump made a keynote address at a major Bitcoin conference in Nashville and promised crypto-friendly change at the Securities and Exchange Commission.
On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman. I didn't know he was that unpopular.
It marked quite the shift for a candidate who in 2019 tweeted that cryptocurrencies enabled illegal activity and were based on thin air. Why do you think Donald Trump chose to attend that conference?
I'd like to believe he's come around. He's learned a few of the issues. I still feel like he doesn't have like a super great grasp of the ecosystem and how it actually works. But he may be being pragmatic, as I said. It may be they did the math and there's a big enough voting bloc.
Who is Katie Porter?
There is also money.
Katie Porter lined her pockets from a company that paid billions in fines.
This ad doesn't even mention crypto, but it was founded by Fairshake, a crypto super PAC, which has reportedly raised more than $200 million to spend on bipartisan congressional races.
Fairshake is responsible for the content of this ad.
Crypto billionaires like the Winklevoss twins, Ripple chairman Chris Larsen, and venture capitalist Mark Andreessen have donated millions to the presidential race.
Ultimately, this is all about business. And Donald Trump in the 2024 campaign has made himself very crypto-friendly.
Professor Margaret O'Mara is an expert on the history of Silicon Valley.
The specter of regulation of cryptocurrency is something that those of the industry are quite worried about.
But of the big names in big tech giving big money, none compare to the world's richest man.
Every day from now until the election, we're giving out $1 million prize.
So far, Elon Musk has reportedly donated more than $100 million to support Donald Trump's re-election.
I've been following Elon Musk for a very long time. I always loved Elon and a lot of his thought processes and his the way he approached problems. He was always kind of a lefty guy, right? And so I'd be like, oh gosh, Elon, it's very interesting to watch how he has evolved over the years and come to this point.
Interestingly enough, although Elon Musk, like many other tech leaders, kind of presents himself as something of a libertarian, actually, government spending has been critically important to the growth of SpaceX. SpaceX is critically important to the U.S.'s space program.
The decentralized nature of cryptocurrency has always appealed to libertarian values. Back in 2012, Rich Clark was rocking for Ron Paul and supporting the Libertarian in his bid for the Republican candidacy.
So back then, the Republicans were the war hawks, and they were the ones like going to Iraq, and 9/11 happened during George Bush's watch, and Dick Cheney and all those guys. Those are the guys I knew as the Republicans, and those are the guys that, when I was campaigning for Ron Paul, I was kind of harping against. Now, obviously, all these guys have moved over to the Democratic Party, essentially. Dick Cheney has endorsed Kamala Harris. And so the Democrat Party is now the war party.
And for Rich Clark and others in the crypto libertarian community, there's one other major reason to support Donald Trump. In May of this year, the former president promised to commute the life sentence of Ross Ulbricht, the founder of dark web marketplace Silk Road.
Are you concerned at all that it's just transactional? That Donald Trump is promising to pardon Ross Ulbricht because there's an election and he might win a few extra votes?
Does it matter if it happens? Because they're at the end of the line for us. They've appealed all the way up to the Supreme Court, and they've done every legal thing they can. The only thing left for him is a presidential pardon. So even if it is transactional, it's still a big deal.
From rocking for Ron Paul 12 years ago, this year Rich Clark was rocking the shades as an alternate delegate at the Republican National Convention, a Bitcoin pin on his lapel, and a vote for Donald Trump.